So this is infinite. It's beginningless and endlessness. It is appearing finite, but it's infinite. It's also absolute. It's all-inclusive, but it appears as all-inclusiveness is appearing as this room, let's say, people, words. It's also complete. And that's completeness appearing as this room. It is without meaning or purpose. It has no need or intention to become anything. And that needlessness, that intentionlessness, is appearing as this. Something else this also appears as, or the infinite of the absolute appears as, is an experience that everything I just said is hidden, is somewhere else, is lost somehow. That experience is an experience of being an individual. The experience of the sense that I'm in the body. That experience in and of itself makes it seem like this isn't infinite. It's limited. It's limited to my experience. It makes it seem like it's not absolute or all-inclusive or boundless. It's limited to what I know and experience, my free will and choice. It also appears that this has meaning and purpose and intention. That's my life. The search for meaning, search for purpose, fulfilling it through my free will and choice, and fulfilling my purpose in that sense. Now, that experience of separation, or let's call it separation, the experience of I am, that experience of limitedness, is an illusion. And it's so completely that it is also everything described at the beginning. That limited experience is also infinite. The infinite appearing as a limited experience. It's also complete and whole and meaningless and purposeless, appearing as the experience of the need for meaning and purpose and intention. So, that being said, this meeting is about nothing, because it's not trying to change anything. It has no intention to help, inform, change, manipulate the appearance, because the message, the whole energy of what's coming out here is coming as that infinite, complete wholeness. It just is that. Everything is that. So we can discuss, all the concepts that I've just shared. And feel free to discuss anything. But the response isn't going to be helpful. It has no intention of being helpful. I only let that out after you paid. Until then, I leave that part hidden. It's true, though.
Which part?
No help. No help.
Jim, like when we were talking the other day on the phone, and I was asking you about how it was for you coming to these meetings, and you said you were terrified all the way through, and I said to you that it's harder and harder to get to these meetings as far as the body just won't leave the house, the terror, and getting out of my hotel room earlier, I thought, will I be able to leave the hotel room with fear? And sitting here, I'm in an absolute state of terror. But at the same time, I can't tell you how amazing it is to sit here. It's just, I don't know what to make of all that.
Yeah.
Even I was having a conversation with Tony the other day, and he was saying, have you been to America to see Jim lately? I said, I'll go and see him in Asheville. I said, I'm going to have to stop these trips to America because they're costing too much. And I'm sitting here thinking, whenever the next trip is to America. It's nuts. But what I did want to ask you was about child abuse. Like, you know my story about being like abused when I was younger and that. Is it purely the people that are abusing you when you're a child is because they want control as the me wanting control?
Oh, I think there's probably a myriad of reasons for everyone that does whatever they do.
I mean, obviously I can look back to my parents and see how they were probably abused worse than me and blah blah blah, and say, well, maybe it was conditioned, but it's so much of it seems to be a need for control. And I was just thinking, is that all the me trying to get someone to behave the way they think?
Oh yeah, the me is definitely into. Well, it feels like it is in control, and it feels like it needs to maintain control. That separate experience. So the me, as I said at the beginning, this is, well, to put it another way, it matters. Because of the experience of it having meaning and purpose and intention. It matters what happens because it's looking for something.
And I suppose also there's a huge investment in, so obviously the me wants to present itself in the right way that's acceptable to others. And then I suppose a big extension of that would be how I'm perceived in relation to my children behaving as well.
Well, it's in relation to, for the me, the experience is one of relationship, being in relation to everything. And the main motivators for the me are power, prestige, and position. So it tries to maintain those ideas that it has about itself and its experience.
It's amazing how, in the world of the me, what a huge project that is. You know.
Well, that's the experience of it. It's not even really happening. You know, it only happens within that bubble of experience called me, my life.
Well, that's what I mean, because like what you said, it's so insignificant, it so doesn't happen, and then at the same time, when the energy...
Well, it's not that it doesn't happen, it's not happening.
I don't agree with that, honestly.
No, it's all right.
How can you say that? Like, that's revealed then when it ends, apparently ends, it's revealed it didn't happen.
Yeah.
And so now there's no one there, you can look at me saying I'm someone and say...
Yeah, all that is unconditional love. All this is unconditional love. I mean, if that is the, you know, the ultimate for the idea for the individual, it's not the same thing, but it's the end of the need to become, or the end for this to be anything in particular. Just is what it is. But that's not, I think that could be misunderstood, that means that there aren't any emotions or desires or wants or anything that arise here. That's not what it is. It's just that everything is that. Everything is that.
What's great
Feeding your child is that.
What? Well, I've got to have some children now. We'll find the ones I may have. But the thing is, what's amazing, because your character, obviously, you know, I listen to you, Tony and Andreas, and your character is the most, to me, like kind of, I don't know what word to use, but kind of, you don't make this anything special. Not that they do, but they're more, I know you crack jokes, but they're more cracking jokes, whereas with you, there's this real kind of, I don't want this to sound harsh, but it's almost a bit flat sometimes when you answer. In as much,
That's fine.
In as much as like it's so not a big deal. With like when I hear you respond, it's so like, oh, it's so couldn't care one way. But then when I was talking to you on the phone on Tuesday, it was like full blown passion, like the aliveness in your voice. It was like booming when you were talking. And I was like, oh wow, he really does give a fuck, not in a personal way, but...
It's not giving a fuck, it's passion.
Yeah.
There's a love for this.
And I've never heard it come out of you that strongly. It's, I suppose that it's not, I don't know if it's a question, but how can there be so much passion when nothing matters? Because you think it would be dead as a me.
Oh, I know, but that's why I said before, nothing mattering isn't that there aren't emotions or things or feelings or any of that. That's not what it is. It's just there isn't the second instance of someone knowing what all that means. There isn't that need for that second instance. What is plus me knowing it. That's just unnecessary. So there's just what seems to be happening.
Yeah.
The me is looking for a state. It hears unconditional love and it thinks it's something it will feel. It hears peace or something like that. And I think that's going to be a feeling or an experience. And what we're talking about is an in-experience. It's not recognized. It's not perceptible.
One of the conversations I was having last year with Tony and Kissleg was about how the me is always trying to rein itself in and, you know, keep it all together, not get too high and too low and all that. And one of the biggest things for me, since I was relatively young and I started to have an awareness of how this character is, it was like not to get too high, because I can get really, really high and enthusiastic, but then I always crash afterwards, because in a way the me is attaching like, oh, this is awesome, and wanting to hold on to that, and then when it can't, it goes like depression or whatever it is. And I suppose when there's no one there trying to rein itself in, because like you're saying about the passion and the emotions, I suppose it could be more fully, like strongly.
Yeah.
There's nothing there thinking, oh, I'm being too much now, or
I'm presenting this flat.
Yeah.
People don't like it.
I didn't.
So, you know, with going too high or too low, the me does have an effect on emotions because it's looking for something. So it will hype things up to get a feed out of what's happening. And that might or might not happen if there wasn't anyone there.
I noticed I did that a lot, coming on a lot of these trips previously, like in the earlier days, because there was so much, and I didn't know it because I didn't want to feel it, there was so much fear of coming to hear this. I'd have this story in my head like, oh, it's awesome, I'm going to this new country, like I'll be telling myself this as I'm going through security, just to make it like acceptable that I was going to hear nothing.
But the message is that all of that is just simply what it is.
Yeah.
It's not parsing it apart or saying that, you know, there shouldn't be the highs or the lows or anything else. It's saying that that is all what can't be known appearing as that.
And I'm trying to get rid of.
Yeah, well, the me is on a journey. It can't help but be on a journey because it already knows what this is. And in knowing what this is, it misses that infinite, that absoluteness, that unconditionality of the appearance. And in its experience, it's conditional. And it's conditional on what it can, you know, its life story about how it's going to find what it feels is missing. But this isn't about that stopping. It's just that that's an illusion. And that illusion hides that it's already free. This is free.
I know you say it all comes from, or it all is nothing, responding. It's not obviously like, you remember like phone calls we've had in previous years where I'm just going, I love you, Jim, I love you, Jim, I think I'm in love with you, and you're like, it's not me, it's the message. I can't separate, like, I'm shaking my head in disbelief, like, how the fuck can he say all of this?
Yeah.
As if that's a position that you've arrived at. And I'm thinking, how the fuck can he honestly say this is free and whatever? How can you say, well, obviously, I can't dispute it because there's been glimpses, but there's nothing there is coming from a position. I want to get that.
You want that position.
Okay.
How?
You want that position of not having a position.
Yeah.
that's why I'm still in the loop of looking for it. Because you'll say, well, words like freedom, that's not a position.
No.
I want to be positionless, but it's as a position.
Yeah.
To own freedom.
Yeah.
Because, well, that's the whole thing of the me, isn't it? Trying to own freedom and get it
totally.
and keep it.
Yeah, totally.
And it feels or there's a resonance. Maybe it's not the me's resonance, and it goes, I want freedom. So how did you're going to say no? How did you die? How did it all end?
Well, it had a lot to do with being good enough.
Am I making progress?
So we got a long way to go.
Not the first one.
That's a joke.
It wasn't when I won't say who, but I might have heard that 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I heard you saying that this is uncreated.
Yeah.
I love that. I was first time I heard you say that, and I love that word uncreated. It really, it's just like that's it, no more.
That's it. Totally.
This is it.
Yeah.
I love absolute and all the other, but this uncreated, it's like, what can you do with that?
That's right.
Not that I visualize it, but kind of uncreated. I see like just this, air, kind of like a clear, untouched.
Oh no,
I know.
This, everything.
Everything, I know, but
All right, okay.
because I know that uncreated appears as created.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. But it's still, this is uncreated.
That's it. Yeah.
I love that word. And you mentioned something else. Can you explore on that, uncreated?
Uncreated?
Yeah.
Well, just that everything is that which can't be known.
Yeah, but there's more to uncreated.
Well, it's not really happening. It's the uncreated appearing as this.
So it's never uncreated. It's like, for me, it's like unmovable. Kind of, yeah.
Well, there's apparent movement.
Yeah, apparent, but it's really in its original.
Well, that's the thing, is there isn't this is the original.
I'm looking for some. But the word is very powerful.
The individual can't help but fixate on what seems to be happening, because it matters. So it's completely invested in the appearance, in the dualistic experience. Yeah.
So fixing it.
Yeah.
It's not.
Well, the experience of being an individual is the experience of everything being fixed, in the sense that it's real to me. I'm real and everything else is real.
Okay. I made it.
Well, it doesn't go. It's not. That doesn't sound right to me. It's not. I made it. I know it.
I know it.
Yeah. I'm in relation to it.
Okay. That's separate from.
It's separate.
From me.
It's true. It's separate from me. Right.
Yeah.
Because there's still an appearance of separate. The chair
of course.
is not the body. There's an appearance of separation, but they're actually both that which can't be known.
And
so it's only apparent.
Apparent.
And the individual lives in that apparent. And that which can't be known is completely lost to it. But longed for.
Ah, I see. I see. It's completely lost, and then we only see this.
They only see the fixed real.
There is only half of the what's
That's
and
right.
the emptiness behind it. Not
Well,
behind
emptiness
it.
is something else, but it's not behind it. It actually is it.
Yeah.
It actually is that which can't be known.
Okay. Yeah.
This, everything that appears, is that which can't be known appearing, a wall or floor.
And it's
Words.
yeah, and it's
Me.
yeah. And everything doesn't have boundaries, yeah.
No, it's completely limitless.
Boundless.
Yeah.
That's what God, yeah, like, so that doesn't have a boundaries.
Mm.
And we see everything, something.
Because it's fixed in the appearance,
Yeah, exactly.
missing that which
That just,
can't be known.
this is not the
Yeah.
end of this.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Okay.
Jim, when you're having, I know you've said it's already unconditional love, everything that's going on here, but when you're having that conversation, I'm trying to listen, but my mind is replaying word for word everything we've just said, looking for the right bit that I need.
Oh,
It's obsessive, isn't it?
that's obsessive.
So it's like I'm trying to listen and I'm thinking, it's like something Jim said there is the bit that I need to extract, and it's replaying the whole thing like a tape recorder, playing it back.
Yeah. It's not in the words.
What is it that becomes or is aware that the me never existed?
It's not something that's aware, it's a noticing that something ended. And it's not that it really ended, it's that it never happened.
Right. What is it?
So it's
that
sort of like
notices-
an unhappening.
Right. What is it that notices
Yeah.
there's an unhappening?
Yeah, it's only noticed in that it stops happening. So it isn't like an awareness of something, it's a notice of nothing. And it's not an awareness. I wouldn't call it an awareness.
What is it that notices nothing?
Yeah, nothing. No one. No one, if you like. We can't get anywhere with that because there
Right.
isn't anyone that notices it.
Yeah.
The best I can do is it's something that never happened stops happening.
I love that. You know, all that stuff we did as young people that was really stupid. Oh,
Are you stopped?
no, but it's like, oh, that really didn't happen, and also, I wasn't in control.
No.
I wasn't really making
Well, it's
those
not.
stupid decisions.
It's not that. It's not that you weren't in control. It's
Yeah.
that there isn't a you.
Right. Right. There's a
And-
appearance that I made stupid decisions.
Well, no. There was an appearance of stupid decisions, but no one made them.
Mm.
You could say that there was a story
That is a story.
that we were creating, so we were not making, there was no me making the decision, but the story was kind of floating. I don't know how.
Floating story. Yeah.
The
Yeah.
story was kind of creating this,
The experience of me is the experience of what is real,
yeah,
and that I'm in control.
yeah.
So that's the story.
That's the story.
And
that's
so,
what I'm saying.
and so the past is my past. It's not just a past. It's
Yeah.
my past. And in that past, there apparently things happened, but those in the story of me, those were things that I did, rather than just being an apparent past.
Because I was taught.
No,
Right, no,
it's an
okay.
experience.
Oh, that's-
No, it's an actual experience of being an individual.
Oh, I see.
And as soon as that experience is there, the experience is that everything is
Yes.
about me. Everything is mine, everything is real.
So it's got nothing to do with parents telling me that, okay, good.
No. It doesn't have anything
You're
it doesn't
right.
have anything to do with anything.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no cause for it to begin, there's no cause for it to end, and it doesn't actually ever happen.
Excellent.
Because there is only what is.
Okay. I like that. Because I was thinking, oh, because we were conditioned and all that, but this is what you said. It's just,
Yeah.
as soon as that,
Well, it's the whole idea that there's a real past that has to be
Yeah.
overcome.
yeah,
That's
exactly.
the story of me. That I need to become something to find what's lost. I need to be better, basically.
And that's constant, really.
Well,
That,
yeah, that's the experience.
that's it.
It's
I'm
constant.
talking about experience, yeah. But it's not real. It's real.
There isn't anything that's real.
How about the infinite?
The infinite is not real.
It's dead.
Well, no, I wouldn't call it dead. Death, you could call it death. But not dead as in lifeless. That would be an imposition on it. But it's death. It's the end of anything being real. Death for the individual is lost, and so it's the illusory experience that what is or what appears is owned through its knowing. Everything that the individual feels like it owns is just a form of knowing, and death to it is the end of that form, any sort of knowing, even if it's a book. And the big death is the end of knowing I experience. That's the one that seems to scare it the most. But it hates all loss, anything. Fearful of all loss.
Jim, there's a thought when you're talking, and it's like, I hate you because I know you're right. I don't hate you, but you know what I mean? Like, I hate it because I know this is, I don't want to say true because it would call true, but when you say it's already known, like, it's really obvious, isn't it, in the room? Like, this is it. There's no one, and fucking hell. Like, it.
In a sense, you could almost say it's too obvious that it's rejected. Because there's nothing in it. There's nothing in it for the individual.
Well, the me doesn't want to give up its search because it all has to be about getting somewhere. And in my story, there's been that many years, like decades, of trying to make myself good, like you said, trying to be good enough.
Yeah. And so the obvious immediacy of it is it has no value to the individual because it's trying to get somewhere.
Yeah. And all of that apparent efforting, I know it never really happened, but in my sense, that happened. So all of that apparent efforting, to the me, would feel completely wasted if it got nothing and there was nothing to get.
Absolutely.
And that's
it's an awful message.
And that's why recently it's been so conflicting booking, because at first I was booking all the trips. It made sense because I'm going to get, more loosening for me, it's going to make me, whatever. And now it's just, I'm booking.
As if you're doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now.
But you're not.
But now when I'm booking a trip, there's this feeling of, what am I doing? Because it really is going there to get nothing. But that is so the best gift there is, in a way. Do you know what I mean? To sit in a room and get nothing.
Yeah.
It's fucking mental. Mental. It's like me's desperately like, I don't want nothing. It's just like sitting in a room and getting nothing. It's just, fucking hell. I feel like I'm going. That's what when you were seeing Tony as a seeker, that's what you were not addicted to, but like you went to every meeting, like how I do, and you were in love with getting nothing.
Yeah.
Wow.
It appears it's love.
It is.
So there's something.
Oh no, love isn't. Well, unconditional love. No, love. Everything what we're talking about, is not really an experience or an object or something to be known. It's not in perception. It's not perceptible because it's not separate.
And it's love?
You gotta add the unconditional bit. It's not a feeling.
That's the thing, because obviously the me can't get how the things that it dreads could be unconditional love.
No.
Because it thinks it needs to accept everything.
Well, the experiences, I know what this is about. And in its experience, it's about feeling good or better.
And so it's fitting everything.
And so, you know, what I'm talking about must be the best feeling or experience there is.
Well, I'm thinking, well, maybe he's never had real pain. He calls it unconditional love.
That might be true too.
No, because you sometimes use the example on videos I've watched on YouTube about if your leg got cut off, they'd be screaming and sewing it up. But then, what is the unconditional love about that, though? I don't get it.
Yeah, it's not, you're talking about experience. You're talking about what's happening. A dualistic reality. And what I'm saying is that all of that, not dualistically, but all of it is unconditional love. That's all that happens, apparently happens, is unconditional love. So it's all in
So relaxed about it as well. In a way, the message, I know I'm still talking and I probably will be for the rest of the week, possibly, but the message does kind of leave you speechless in a way.
Oh,
because you're just like, oh, what?
The questions can just dry up.
Usually by Sunday. I was listening to you and Tony a few years back, and suddenly, it was uncharacteristic of me, at least for the last decade, I got really depressed and empty, not the happy, not the funny, not the
Not the good empty.
Yeah. I had to stop, and I flew to Tuscany to see Rupert, but it got really expensive because then the whole family wanted to go. Not to see Rupert, but to go run around Tuscany while I was seeing Rupert. But anyway, and then that didn't last very long. But then I was in a meditation Zoom, old farts of us at Zoom, and the guy who was leading it said, okay, let's meditate, and I want you to have the intention that this will be the meditation that will do it. And I said, no. I sure shall not. And he said, but I want you all to be teachers. And I said, no. Been there, done that, don't work. And so that's when I started listening to you guys again. And that this time it hasn't been that. There's been no depression. There's been like, oh, this freedom is like, well, what do I do? What do I do? I don't have to meditate. You know, I don't even have to do this or that, or think good, or be a good person, or not gossip. I'm like, I'm kind of lost.
Yeah, well, the message is actually there isn't a you.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the not me doesn't quite know what to do.
There isn't a not you.
Yeah. There's not a not me.
No.
That's funny.
One of the biggest fears I've had with this message, and I told you this years ago, when I'm sitting in a room with people who've had a spiritual past, and I think, well, I didn't have a spiritual past, so they're ahead of me. And then I worry, oh shit, it's going to take me way longer. But actually, like, for example, she's talking about doing meditation, and I'm thinking, I'm not further behind because this is just bodies in a room having a conversation.
Yeah. This is it.
I still feel I'm behind everyone. Not because of the spirituality thing,
Yeah,
but
that's
I
what it
just
is.
feel they're all ahead of me. What's your sense?
course, there isn't anybody ahead or behind. There isn't anything happening already. It's done. The whole thing, the whole story of me is done. It's all done. Everything is already that. It's already that.
That's how most of our phone conversations start. I'll say, dear blah blah blah, you'll go, it's done. And I'll be like, oh shit. Like, you know. And then I'll talk a bit more and you'll go, you do realise it's done already. It's just... Because the me's always trying to jump over hurdles, like, you'll say it's done, I'll see that's the full stop, and then I'll be like, I'm going to get round that.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter.
No. No.
So, is there no value?
No.
The progressive path as well.
What's that?
The progressive path.
That is full of value.
The depth. Huh?
The progressive path is full of value.
I thought you would say it had no value.
Oh, well, in the progressive, there is no progress.
Oh.
It's all done already.
Yeah.
But in the progressive path, everything has value. For that, in that story of
For the me.
Yeah,
The
exactly.
me thinks it needs to do this and do that. And
Yeah.
it is said.
And it gets it right and wrong, and
Right.
good and bad, and all those
It
things.
is said that Ramana Maharshi would do triage when people would come. Oh, no, you need to go do a bunch of good deeds. And, oh, you need to do devotion. Oh, yeah, you're ready for the direct path. Come on in.
All right.
Yeah, so why did those other, Tony's like the first teacher that started this. Just throw it all away.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, well, I don't think that's the message. Just throw it all away.
Yeah, but there's no direct path. There's no
There's
path.
no path.
There's no path.
Well, what's the path to this?
What's the path
To this?
There's no path.
No, there's no path.
Yeah, yeah,
It's done.
yeah.
But isn't it the now?
Well, now.
We could say, what is it?
I
It is
think
now.
I think
It is
now
this
is
moment.
misleading. A moment or now is a limitation, because there isn't anything that isn't it. So the whole experience that there's a real past and a real me and a real process and a real future and all those things, that's it. That's what can't be known being known. So it's not about finding a position that's different from another one as being more true or more real or more right. There isn't anything outside of what's longed for. It's all that already.
Would now indicate a time?
What's that?
Time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there is a parent time.
Apparent time, but would indicate the beginning. Yeah.
Apparently.
Yeah, apparently. But it's not.
There isn't anything
There is
that
not
really
time.
is. There's only what seems to be.
Immediate.
Yeah. Immediately.
Is there another word for real?
Real.
Real.
Solid, fixed, known. Known's a little confusing, but solid, fixed, known, separate.
Because you say it isn't real, it's real and it's unreal.
Yeah.
So that then the brain doesn't know what to do with that.
No, well, exactly. Yeah, because it's not what we're talking about. The concepts are relatively simple, so they can be understood. But what we're talking about isn't actually in experience. Isn't in conception. It's not an experience. It's not a perception. It's not separate. It's everything. It's everything.
My mind can't grasp that.
No, of course not.
But something here would hear that and
Maybe or not. Yeah.
I notice I like that language better than nothing
Ah.
and nobody. versus everything feels much more expansive
Oh,
and allowing.
okay.
Just notice that for me. And me.
Yeah.
That's what my me prefers.
I take lists afterwards of what words I should use. Yeah. I'm here to please.
Everything, yes, nothing, no.
The thing is,
Let me control the non-dualist.
That's recorded. Some of the words you cut out, I really liked though. Can we put words?
Yeah, you guys need to get together. I'll add them all in
Have
tomorrow.
a vote.
Vote.
Have a vote.
Ah.
No, what I wanted to ask actually was when you were talking about real and fixed and solid and stuff, that's where our conversation ended on the phone on Tuesday, was I was saying, so you can't call this all floating, and you kind of said you could because it's the opposite of real or fixed.
Yeah.
So I don't, floating, how can you say this is floating?
Yeah.
Do you mean like how a cloud just seemingly floats and seems
very,
to change shape?
Very much so. Very much so.
It doesn't have a form, like a set form.
I mean, it apparently has a set form.
Well, what I mean is, for example,
But there isn't a solidity to it. There isn't a knowing of it.
your eyes light up when you say that.
It's exciting, isn't it?
I would be scared at that moment, but sometimes, yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's like that.
No, because the thing is, I know what you mean, but like with the clouds, it seems to change shape and form, and it's so not fixed. Like if you watch clouds move, apparently like moving. But this seems for me to have a knowing and a fixedness, like how you are and how that body is, and this body, and certain things to me are fixed. Like
that's a dream.
That's a dream.
Yeah.
So I could turn up and you could be a completely different character one time.
Well, this isn't. It's not necessarily that everything could be different. It's that this is not actually knowable. The knowing of this is an illusion.
It's almost like I'm wanting to predict what's going to happen, like an anxiety.
Well, control. You're back to control.
And also, if I know how Jim will react to this or that, then I can make him like me. And it's control state.
I love you already, so I don't know.
I'd hate to hear the things you say to people you don't love. I'm joking. I'm joking.
It seems that the placebo effect would possibly, like, that it may only work for me, is I'm hypothesizing. That if there's nobody there, there's no one who's going to be, can be influenced in any way as to, like, whether, I don't know, like, I'm just, it's just something I've been curious about. I've wondered about. I mean, do you have any thoughts on that?
Oh, I imagine the placebo effect, because it has to do with, the ideas about whether something will have an effect or not.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so if somebody of authority, if I'm dying of, let's say, something, who knows what, and they say this will cure you, I don't have any idea what would happen here.
You're not gonna think, oh, it is gonna cure me.
Oh, well, maybe.
You don't know. You don't
maybe
know.
I would listen to, probably they'd be listening to the doctor. Doctor said this will cure you. But the placebo effect isn't quite as effective as medicine.
But almost.
Well, I don't know if that's true.
Yeah. No.
they the same? Medicine and placebos, are they the same?
Well, it's all that which can't be known.
And who knows what the fact, nobody knows. If you take medicine or placebo. That's unknown too. Unknown.
It's all that which can't be known, appearing as placebo or medicine.
Yeah.
But there is some cause and effect in the appearance. You get in a car wreck, you get a compound fracture, and they put it back together.
Yeah.
And then so it heals.
Yeah.
So that's in the dream.
That's not a dream.
In the appearance, thank you. In the appearance, there does seem to be rules.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
And you don't seem to try and explain why there's rules.
No, because it doesn't matter.
Other teachers do.
I know, because for them it matters.
Right.
Because
doesn't
for this isn't a teaching. For a teacher,
Yeah.
for a teacher, it matters what happens. So they have information or realizations or something that you don't, and they're going to tell you how to find it. They found something, and they're going to tell it. Teaching, it only works if there's information to impart or experiences to impart. And that's when everything matters. This isn't a teaching, and it doesn't have anything to say that matters.
Jim, I still can't obviously escape the idea of progress, obviously. When you were in the spiritual world, did you feel you were making progress, like you had a sense of needing to achieve something?
Sometimes.
So when you came to Tony, was there this sense like, I've got to achieve liberation?
Oh, no. It was pretty well clear at the beginning that that wasn't what this was about. Which is pretty awful, really. Because there's no agency to find what's longed for. Which is pretty awful.
Oh, right, yeah, because there's the security that...
Well, at least hope.
Yeah.
At least hope. At least it's my fault if it's not working.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it good enough or hard enough or whatever, and I just need to try harder or practice more or go to the right place or do the right thing. So that was hope. That was better than being confronted. And it wasn't just understanding. There was some clarity. It resonated with something that I had seen years and years and years before, that it just wasn't about me. And so that wasn't funny.
That's one of the things that Tony reiterates the most. Like, he's like, this isn't about you. So I'll say it again, this isn't about you. Because this is the one thing that me is so convinced that everything is a result of what it feels it's doing and being the right way, doing the right thing. And I can't escape the idea that, if I say the wrong thing, if I ask the wrong question, if I, whatever, don't call you at the right time, I don't know, whatever it is.
Well, that's the experience of cause and effect is real.
Yeah.
That this is real. That it matters. That what's longed for is dependent on what happened.
And that this is what's longed for.
Yeah. It's not already everything.
But for the me, obviously, how could this possibly be everything? Because it knows it had a past.
Yeah.
And it knows that that led to this. And so it knows that what it's looking for will be a result of what?
Yeah. It'll happen. It doesn't happen.
No. But you can recount an apparent story when your breath was taken away.
Which is everything appearing as a story.
So why? I was going to say why tell it. I've squeezed it out of you over the years, but you didn't want to tell it.
Did I not?
No, for ages I kept saying to you, what was the moment when your knee died? What was your... And for a year or two, you wouldn't tell me until the point where you... Oh no, I know how I found it now. But anyway, it doesn't matter. And then you confessed. But is it
confessed?
Confessed in the end.
Well, the only thing is that when this tells the story of what happened, it just seems to be, taken on by a me.
The me wants it as home.
As a guidepost. It's looking for guideposts to know what to do about its situation.
At that apparent moment, which you would say didn't happen, but in that apparent moment when it was all over, which it vanished. The illusion vanished.
Oh, it didn't vanish. It was never there. There isn't any separation. How are you going to overcome or fix or bridge something that isn't separate? That's why it doesn't happen. Because there isn't anything that brings all this, it's not together, but that it eliminates separation. It's already done.
Yes. It's amazing as well. I know it's not you doing it, but no matter how insistent the me is that I'm going to get this out of you, I'm going to get this out of you, and you're just still calmly responding with the same thing you've been saying
for years.
And you loved it.
Yeah.
You do love it, don't you?
What if for you this is the experience of what is?
Well, there isn't an experience.
Or like what if there's different ones for all of us?
Oh, right. Yeah, there isn't a different one for different ones because there aren't different ones.
There's an illusion of the expression of the infinite having a holographic reality.
I wouldn't put it that way because it's not, in a sense that's true, but it sounds like it's somewhere, there's an infinite reality, is that what you said? Having a holographic expression?
That's how I imagine it.
Yeah,
like
so
that we're like how I see it is like we're in my eye, we're of the oneness, and from that there's like these different expressions of the oneness.
Yeah.
Having, it brings me joy to imagine having different experiences, ones that maybe I don't have say over, for my own expansion, to have those experiences and expression.
Yeah. So what I'm talking about isn't an experience.
Yeah. It's what?
Yeah. Nothing.
There's energy here.
The energy is also just an appearance.
I feel it.
You feel it?
Yeah.
I don't.
You don't feel any energy.
Oh, energy. Well, everything is energy.
Yeah.
This is energy.
Energy feels real to me.
Yeah. Well, to the me, everything it feels real.
Mm. But not to the infinite, or to the
Well,
something that can't have a word.
It's not to that. There isn't anything separate from that. But there isn't any experience of that which can't be known or unconditional love. It's not separate. To experience something, it needs to be separate. To know something, it needs to be separate.
Mm.
That's how it seems to hide. Because the separate experience knows its way through its life. Experiences its way through its life. It's the only currency it has.
Mm.
The separate experience is somehow dissatisfying. And what's longed for is the end of that separate experience. Not by the separate experience. It doesn't want this.
Do you ever worry, or feelings of worry arise, that the wrong a person with a really strong, sick me will hear this message and go think, oh, there's nothing bad, there's nothing good, I can just go kill my wife or whatever. Does that, I think maybe a lot of the teachers that are gone now, the dead teachers, worried about that, or were concerned about, people not being ready to hear this start. I think what you're saying is what they all said too. But then they conditioned it because they're like...
But you couldn't. It would be impossible to condition this. If it's...
I think they gave people paths because they were worried that they didn't seem to...
Well, then it seemed to matter.
Yeah.
Then it mattered.
Yeah.
If somebody went home and killed their wife.
Yeah. I know, I understand that it doesn't matter. I understand that, in the highest truth, nothing matters, nothing's really happening, but at the same time, they're in the appearance.
Yeah, that's the idea, that there's two realities. That there's the highest truth, there's that which can't be known, and then there's the appearance which is real and matters. And the message here is, those aren't separate. This, that is it. It's not, it doesn't become it, doesn't come out of it, it's not transmuted into that. That's it, that's it. It's it. This is what's on. It's done.
Jim, I know you said it's not in the words, but your expression, there's little nuances in your tone, like I said, like you'll light up when you say, like your eyes light up when you say I'm knowing, or when you say it's that, your voice, like the tonation is a bit like a child that's a bit excited, or like, is there anything that I can read of your expressions that will help?
If you read it correctly, you'll find the truth. You're just a little bit off. It's close though, it's close. The me will put meaning on everything. It finds meaning in everything.
I love you so much, honestly. I really do.
Well, in two communities that I've lived in my adult life, there were situations in both, one a little 5-year-old girl and one a little 5-year-old boy. They were kidnapped, tortured, raped, and killed. And they found the bodies, of course. Anyway, there's the me or the something cannot accept that that's unconditional love.
No.
Even though I know, I do understand.
Yeah.
I get totally the total.
Well, everything that's being shared here is absolutely unacceptable.
Yeah.
It's just unacceptable. It's also unbelievable. The belief of it isn't it.
But I would still, can a non-me or no me or nothing, can nothing still feel moved to maybe make the world a safer for children or whatever?
Absolutely,
whatever
why not?
Comes up.
Why not? This isn't about what happens. It's that what appears to happen is that already.
Is the me focusing more on what appearing?
Oh, it's completely limited to the appearance.
And that's why it adds a lot to the appearance.
Meaning, purpose,
Meaning,
intention,
purpose.
need.
Because if we just look, not we, I don't know but if there is like neutral kind of looking at the appearance.
No, it has nothing to do with neutral. This is already neutral.
Yeah,
Completely.
okay, that's what I'm saying. Like,
It's already done.
Yeah, it's already done,
Yeah.
but somehow we just adding to it and
Absolutely.
adding
Yeah.
to something that it just poof.
That's right.
And if there is just it,
Yeah.
don't add anything.
Well, you can't not add anything. Trying not to add something is adding something.
Yeah, I know. I've been there. Try not to. Yeah, torture.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like what is just is, but we dress it up.
And isn't.
And isn't, exactly. But we dress it up, the me dress it up and say this is wrong, this is horrible, this, without that would be just what is.
Well, even that is still what it
I
is.
understand, but kind
Oh,
of
okay.
like,
Yeah. Yeah, there isn't anything wrong.
no, it's not.
Right.
I kind of.
I get that.
I get
But
that,
having the experience that things are wrong isn't wrong.
yeah, even that, but the
Yeah.
contraction energy tells you this is wrong,
That's
this
right.
is unacceptable,
Yeah.
horrible.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's horrible, okay. What's that mean?
Yeah. Nothing.
knows?
Just it's horrible.
Just horrible word, that's a word.
Oh, no, I mean, it's obvious
I mean,
that
yeah.
raping and killing children is horrible. It's not wrong, though.
Yeah, it just happened.
Yeah, apparently.
But isn't it horrible because it's wrong?
No. There isn't anything wrong in that way. The experience of right and wrong come out of the experience of the individual, that the appearance has intention, a need to become something better. That the way it is not right. And that's just the projection out of the me of its experience of it not being right or not being good enough, or needing for something to happen for this to be what it feels it should be, which is just a substitute for unconditional love. That's what's longed for, but it has no relationship to the individual, because everything is that already.
When you say this is what is, are you referring to the appearance?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The appearance as that which can't be known. So all there is that which can't be known, and this is what it looks like.
No wonder this isn't a very popular.
No.
I can't remember, it was this week or last week, I was having a conversation, I don't know if it was on Zoom or on the phone, to you or Tony or Andreas, about how what happens doesn't leave a trace of itself. And that's the most amazing thing, is because when I'm a me, let's say, when that's going on, the story seems so real that it seems that story is really affecting how I am now.
Yeah.
When there's no one there, obviously nothing's there going on, the story's dropped, but I come back and it's obvious there was a freedom from that story for no one,
Yeah.
but the whole story doesn't give any consequence. There's no real consequence.
There's no real anything.
Oh yeah. You said I wasn't. Oh, I heard it.
Yeah, but there's no real consequence.
There's
of
no
course.
consequence.
Yeah.
And this is like mad for the me. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's no, not that it can do otherwise, but the holding on to this story. There's no need for holding. Not that it can let go.
No.
There's no need for holding on to that story.
No.
Finding to look. It's
And there's no need to let go.
There's no need to let go.
Yeah.
Your answers are unexpected.
Oh.
No, because sometimes like you listen to a lot of it and you're like, I know what you'll say next. But like, I didn't think you were going to say that.
Need to practice.
I love that because we're always trying to let go of our way.
Yeah.
Well,
That it has something to do with you. That
Yeah.
what we're talking about has something to do with that separate experience, and it just doesn't.
and our suffering, that it has something to do with our suffering.
Well, spirituality, suffering has value. You suffer correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jim, but in the same way that I said I couldn't have expected what you were going to say, you don't know what you're going to say, do you?
Yeah.
So when I'm talking, are you formulating a response in your head?
Well, I practice. We have a playbook because they're limited questions. We go back and forth and back and forth. And, no, clueless. No idea.
You're not so when okay, if I'm having a conversation with someone as they're talking, I'm preparing what I'm going to say next.
Yeah.
There's just listening.
Yeah.
There's not this whole thing of what's the response.
No.
And that goes for other conversations that are not to do with this message.
Yeah.
If you're talking about something else like chopping wood or building or whatever, and someone's having a conversation, there's not this living in and working out what response.
No.
That comes out of relating to someone.
Yeah, well, they're being someone.
And wanting the interaction to go well. You don't want this to go well.
No. There isn't anybody here that doesn't want it to go well. But there isn't anybody here that wants it to go well.
No, but that really is the freedom
absolutely.
of the expression.
Absolutely.
You don't want to make this go well, so you can just, well, you can't, but anything could come out.
Yeah.
And it's just always bang on. It has to be, doesn't it? Like, it's sorry, I'm just still amazed by this. Yeah, I'm sorry if I'm going on and on and on.
Well, it's a lot of work too when you have to start formulating.
Oh,
yes,
I
tried
know.
to teach non-duality.
You did?
I did the direct path.
Oh, the direct path.
Yes.
That takes forever.
And the thing is, they never got it.
Oh, no.
Only one person who's been like raised, and they're from India, raised in Vedanta. But she got it very intellectually, and then she's like, wow, she got it, she got it, or she made progress, but not progress, but anyway, she resonated. Everybody else was like, let's talk about channeling. So it was hopeless. But I remember when you brought that up about how trying to, I always had an answer, but there isn't thinking involved. How would Rupert say this? How would Nisargadatta say this? So, and I have no desire.
This doesn't know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Would you describe that as channeling?
No. Well, channeling would be separation, wouldn't it? It would be one thing channeling something else. What we're talking about here is that there actually isn't any separation.
So you're
non-duality, not two-ness.
You're connected to the oneness.
No, there's
You are the oneness.
no. The message is there's no unconnectedness. Everything that appears is that which is love. All of you. We called it unconditional love before. Nothing is a word you could use.
Or not?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's the same thing, really. Because the unconditional love isn't something perceptible or knowable.
Jim, I don't know if I told you this story, but a couple of months ago, obviously I was in Pax Lodge in London with Tony, and I was asking him, like, around, I'm amazed by what's coming out and this and that. And he said, he was driving down in the car, and he was thinking, oh, I wonder what I'll do for an introduction, maybe I'll go with the same usual stuff, blah, 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 blah. And he said, but when I got here and I started talking, I'm thinking, fuck me, because he had no idea. But what's amazing for me is that there doesn't need to be that knowing, like that sort of preparation of how I'm going to be and what. I had a number of conversations about this in front of Andreas about the me doing this inner preparation work of when I'm in that situation, how will I need to be, so it goes effectively. And it's just to think that not that there's someone living there, but there's almost, I want to say a living in or knowing, if that's might not be the right way to say it, but it's almost like there's a living without that need for the right preparation. I'm going to be there and I'm going to do it this way and then it will go successful. And you just turn up anywhere, not even talking about this, without any knowing. And
Completely unknown. There might be preparation,
okay.
or else the bags wouldn't be packed when I went to the airport.
I mean the preparation as far as getting it right.
Oh no.
That's mad. That is really, shocking.
There isn't a right.
Yeah. Sorry.
Makes it crazy.
Yeah, I was listening to this one woman on YouTube who, she has non-duality in her title or whatever. And she said that it was after she came across you and Tony that she had a big transformation. And so I started listening to her, and then in one of the videos she starts talking about how there's actually things you can do to prepare. And it was really like, I could feel there was part of me that's like, oh, well I could feel the part of me that's like, oh, cool, I have something to maybe she's right. Maybe she's
What harm could it do?
Yeah, and then simultaneously I had the experience of and I hadn't felt like this in weeks since I'd come across the non-dual, understanding, is, there's something wrong. There's something I'm lacking, there's something I'm not doing. And it was really, and I could feel the part of me that's like, but I get to have something to do. But then I also have to feel like I'm not there and I'm lesser than. And it was really interesting. And I finally, I could feel part of me that was like, well, maybe but I finally I was like, no, I'm not interested. And I'm not interested in finding out where, she might or might not be at, but that it's just not, I really, and not that sometimes I'll find myself engaging in some, probably all the time on some level I'm doing something to try to change my experience.
But in that's the me.
Yes.
Is moderating experience. That's its thing. It's looking for a better one.
Yeah, and to allow that to, and not.
Well, this isn't about, we aren't talking about allowing.
I know.
Oh,
I know. But I guess it's just recognizing that's going on, that's not.
So this isn't about recognizing what's going on.
Yeah. Which, yes, I know that. And of course it's not about knowing. It's not about knowing anything. It's, And I know, and there can be the appearance of I have had the experience of feeling I've taken this and that non-dual understanding and kind of,
So this isn't about understanding.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of it's lonely because I've exhausted all the groups around me, like I said, and they're more interested in making the world a better.
Yeah.
Let's meditate peace into the world, or let's and then I say my thing, and then they kind of go, That's why I had my group for 6 years, but anyway, but it's lonely. There's no one no groups to go. My friend Bert, the one who was the meditation guy, I told him I was coming here, and he's like, oh, I can't tell you how many reasons I can't stand that teaching. And so I was like, oh, now what do I do? Well, there's nobody to hang out with.
Yeah.
Oh, and what he said, and I said, well, but I looked on the Facebook, and there's an Asheville non-duality group, and he says, oh, well, I'm glad you found a group, and I'm like, no, because they're kind of talking about this teacher and having that teacher and this teacher and debating, and I'm like, no. So it's lonely.
Yeah, as a seeker, hearing this can make you a bit lonely.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially if it's heard in some way.
So what do we do? Take up other hobbies?
Well, you're not doing that. That sounds good. Baking. And I'm sure there's a baking club somewhere.
My house is so clean. Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
So Alan Watts? No, it wasn't. Ram Dass. Ram Dass was giving a lecture, and he did. I don't guess this is a surprise to anyone, he did a lot of drugs. And he was talking about a lot of his experiences on drugs. And there was an elderly lady in the front row who, and of course this is some years ago, so it was even less acceptable than it is now. And she just kept nodding. He was talking about these fantastic experiences, and she would just nod. And it made him curious. And so after the meeting, he went up to her and he said, you know, I saw you, you know, concurring with what I was talking about as though it were in your experience. Have you done these drugs? Which would have surprised him. And she said, no, knitting.
It's the same thing.
Without any intention.
Yeah.
At least no spiritual intention.
It just, the me wants to be occupied.
Yeah.
With other things.
Yeah.
The kind
It wants to be
of
entertained.
Simplicity.
It needs something.
It just
Yeah.
doesn't satisfy
Yeah, it gets bored.
its hunger.
It gets bored.
It's
It doesn't get
beautiful.
fed.
In simplicity, it's like so rich for, you know, it's really,
It's very satisfying to clean the stuff in the washer that
Mm.
you've never noticed before.
Yeah. Yeah.
no,
It is, it's very satisfying to see it when you're done with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but it's more like psychological for me to be empty, to be not empty, I'm not talking, but
Yeah.
the simplicity of, like you said, moving a hand, that's liberation, yeah, that's complete.
Well, all there is liberation.
So,
It's already done.
it's already done.
Yeah.
Jim, quite a few of the recent conversations I've had with you on the phone have been about it's like falling in love with everyone, and and I'm saying, you know, because clearly you don't like everyone's behaviour, and you're like, no, but you love them anyway, and it's just weird because I remember I'd gone on a trip to see Andreas in Spain about over a year ago, and another guy who you know, but I won't say who he is, he comes to some of these meetings. He was saying, whenever I'm at non-duality, it's like I just love everyone, and I was thinking, everyone? No. I thought, what the hell? But for the first time today, I've come here and I'm in love with everyone. I think it's maybe the defensiveness of the me protecting itself,
Yeah.
that it doesn't love everyone, but there's no reason not to.
No. Well, there's no reason to either.
Yes.
There's no reason to, it just apparently happens.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And there's no choice of what happens, it just is.
Yeah.
And so then life is just isn't.
Yeah.
So there's a destiny.
Oh, no. No.
So it just is.
Yeah. Oh.
It just continues to unfold.
It, yeah.
Or would you use that word?
Yeah, no, it's fine. But it's not, it only seems to.
Unfold.
Yeah.
Because it's already done.
Well, because it's already that. It's not becoming anything. It's not moving towards any goal.
Sometimes I like to think about, or I have thought of it as like my human having that journey.
Oh, me loves to be on a journey.
Yeah.
It's always going to get better. More experiences and things.
Yeah.
That's the dream. Yeah. This isn't enough for me. For the me, this isn't enough.
The moment.
It's somehow, I wouldn't call it a moment, but what isn't enough. It's lacking. For that separate experience, it lacks something.
I don't think it has to.
Well, it's a dream. Lack is a dream. But it is part and parcel of the separate experience. Oh, you're right. So if you get drunk, you wouldn't feel it. And if you take drugs, you wouldn't feel it. If you have sex, you wouldn't feel it. If you're on a good kick and you're making a lot of money, having a lot of success, that might wipe it away for a while. But there'll always the underlying sense of something needing to happen. And even if it's going well, there'll be that worry that it might not. There's always that discontent with what is in that separate reality. I mean, you're gonna die. That's pretty bad.
You don't think your me can have the oneness, the everything, the
Oh,
unknown?
of course not. No one can have it because it's not separate.
Or remember it, or is it?
It can't be remembered. It's not separate.
There seems to be a quality of it, though.
Okay, it doesn't.
That you're experiencing. Like when I'm with you, it
isn't an experience.
The words you're tricking. Like I feel like I don't know the language.
Oh, right. And see, it's not really the language. For me, the words come from an idea, and so I'm not really picking on the words or playing semantic games. It's coming from an idea that it's still an object or it's still a something. And it's not. It's nothing to you.
So in other words, she's having an experience of something, but that's not what you're talking about.
Yeah. I find the resonance of this isn't recognizable. It's sort of it's a sort of an inner yes. But it's not objectifiable. It's not like knowable, the inner yes. It's almost in retrospect that you notice there's been an inner yes.
Jim, a lot of the defensiveness that I have, sorry, is it time?
No, it's not.
A lot of the defensiveness I have, why normally I want to keep a distance from people, and like I said, like, I can't say being in love with everyone, but there's just love for everyone now, but this like defensiveness is because I've got this huge fear of them not liking me and rejecting me, and I think if I keep them at arm's length and don't love them, they can't hurt me. So even if they reject me, oh well, I didn't love them anyway. But being rejected by someone, would that hurt you or not? I don't know.
If I like, no. There isn't anyone here to hurt, but emotions still arise. There might be a recognition of what's going on there.
So there could be an emotion, but there wouldn't be anything to which it mattered.
No, exactly.
So you wouldn't feel rejected, and you wouldn't feel a loss of.
There isn't anyone to be rejected, but there might be rejection.
Okay. But also, for me, there's a loss of self-esteem in it, I think, too.
Yeah.
And like, you don't have self-esteem. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely, it's true.
So you can't, well, I keep saying you as if it's a you, but it's a totally different world than the two.
In a sense it is.
What do you mean in a sense?
Well, it's all the same, isn't it? There's still whatever arises or whatever appears. It just appears for no one.
And so there's no one taking stock of their own value in relation to...
Well, there's no need for things to have value. It's not that I'm here not taking stock. It's just that nothing has any need of value.
So when I said, could you be that, you said the emotions can come up. Yeah. Those emotions could be painful.
Yeah.
So obviously the me doesn't want to feel that.
Yeah.
So there's nothing there to push it away.
Absolutely.
So it's not embraced, but...
No, absolutely not.
So it just happens.
Yeah. Well, this is just seeming to happen. And it's everything.
I still want to get a position, don't I? Sorry. I know, still do that.
Thanks, folks.
Outstanding.
What did you say?
Jim.
Nina.
That was outstanding.
Yeah, me too. I said, yeah.